Hey everybody, Andy Cavernan here with another Cornerstone Connection Daily Devotional. I wonder, have you ever had to make a difficult choice and wondered how to make it? Perhaps your choice affected only you, maybe it was a personal decision, but maybe it affected a lot of other people. And you stressed over it, you were thinking, how do I go about making this decision? Well, there was a man in the Old Testament. His name was King Rehoboam. He was the man who succeeded his father Solomon on the throne of Israel. And he had a difficult choice to make. See, he inherited a kingdom that, though it was glorious and grand in so many ways under the reigns of David and Solomon, had started to slide because of Solomon's poor choices and his running after women from foreign lands who enticed his heart to follow foreign gods. And some of the dysfunction at the end of Solomon's reign included his leadership over some of the northern tribes of Israel, and particularly as it relates to a man named Jeroboam, who fell into conflict with Solomon and actually had to run away and went to Egypt. And after Solomon died, he came back once Rehoboam had taken power. And Jeroboam, who was in conflict with Solomon, comes up to Rehoboam, Solomon's son, and he says, "Look, how are you going to treat us? Are you going to treat us like your father did, because he was tough? Or are you going to treat us with respect and dignity?" And Rehoboam's got a choice, and it's a difficult choice. He's a new ruler. He's learning how to exercise his leadership responsibilities. And what he does is actually pretty encouraging to begin with. He seeks wise counsel. He must have learned that from his father. Over and over in the book of Proverbs, Solomon wrote that there's wisdom in counsel and in seeking advice and taking it from others. And so we pick up the narrative in 1 Kings 12, verse 6, where it says, "Then King Rehoboam took counsel with the old men," good for him, "who had stood before Solomon his father while he was yet alive, saying, 'How do you advise me to answer this people?'" Pretty promising, right? He's looking at the elders of his community, those who've been around for a while, and he asks them for advice. And listen to what they say. Verse 7, "And they said to him, 'If you'll be a servant to this people today and serve them and speak good words to them when you answer them, then they'll be your servants forever.'" Sounds like pretty good advice, right? I mean, treat them with respect and with dignity, and you're going to win their loyalty. And Rehoboam soaks that in. And it seems like good advice. In fact, it probably was good advice. But unfortunately, Rehoboam doesn't accept that advice. Listen to what happens next, verse 8. It says, "But he abandoned the counsel that the old men gave him and took counsel with the young men who had grown up with him and had stood before him." See, Rehoboam sought advice, good for him. But he didn't stop with the advice of wise, godly men. Instead, he went to those that he knew would tell him what he wanted to hear. And what did he want to hear? Well, these men go on to advise him that your father ruled with some authority. You need to put the hammer down. You need to rule with an iron fist, or else they'll walk away from you. And Rehoboam liked that because he had this surge of power hunger that caused him to want to step into this authoritarian, autocratic role. And so he does, and he loses the kingdom. And all he's left with is the single tribe of Judah. The kingdom splits, and the consequences are long-lasting and painful. In fact, the northern kingdom abandons the way of Yahweh and follows after foreign gods more and more. What a devastating choice Rehoboam made. And the story reminds me of a principle that we read about in the book of 1 Corinthians. Paul writes this in 1 Corinthians 15:33. He says, "Do not be deceived. Bad company ruins good morals." See, it turns out that seeking advice isn't the only thing that's important when making decisions. What's also important is seeking good advice, isn't it? Seeking the advice of godly people who are following after the Lord and who are willing to speak into our lives as we seek after the truth and seek after what is right in a way that challenges us. I'm so grateful for the opportunity that I have every month, every week, to seek after the advice of godly people on our elder board or other pastors who can challenge me in my thinking and help me make choices that Lord willing, honor God and not myself. And that's my desire. I'm not saying it's a perfect process, but I'm thankful for good men and women who help me think clearly and are willing to say, "Andy, I don't think you're right." How do you make choices? Do you seek out yes people only? Are you only searching for those who agree with you so that you can validate whatever habits or decisions you make that you want regardless of the consequences? My challenge to you and to myself is, let's not be like Rehoboam, who ignore the advice of godly counsel and instead seek carnal counsel and allow bad company to corrupt our morals. Let's partner together with those who have God's best interests in mind as they do ours. God bless you, friends. May your choices reflect the glory and character of our Lord these days.